I'm Connor Old, and welcome back to another episode of Old's Oscar Countdown. And this week, I'm going to be giving you my reactions to the SAG Awards, which by the time you're watching this happened last night, but at the time of filming, it just recently happened. So I'm going to give you my initial thoughts, what this means for the Oscar race, breaking down the more important categories, the upsets, because we did get a couple upsets, I think, tonight, and what it means for the acting races, which have been more unpredictable this year than in any other year, all coming up next. But if you're new to the series, what I do every single week is break down the Oscars and what I think will win. Before, during October and December area, now I predicted what I thought was going to get nominated. Now that the nominations have come out, I'm predicting what I think was going to win as we sort of get this slow rollout of PGA, SAG, whatnot. Next week, I'm going to be giving my DGA and BAFTA reactions, and we're going to actually finally get once again more of the industry awards, which will tell us what will win at the Oscars, or maybe will and maybe won't. But these SAG Awards were tonight, and this whole episode I'm just dedicated to the SAG Awards because the acting races, for the most part, in previous years were pretty locked up, pretty solid. That, you know, if we look at something like last year, the 4 SAG winners ended up winning the Oscar, and there was no change. But this year, there could be a scenario where potentially 3, but definitely 2 of the winners here at SAG don't win at the Oscars, and we're going to go into the Oscars night not knowing anything. So it's going to be very interesting. So we have Best Picture implications from this award show. We also have the acting implications from this award show. So let's break that down right at the beginning. So the biggest kind of Best Picture award-esque of the night was the Best Ensemble winner, which went to The Trial of Chicago 7, which was a bit of a surprise. I mentioned last week a breakdown of the Best Picture contenders and who I think is going to win, and I mentioned that The Trial of Chicago 7 is still one of the contenders, and I think with this win, it definitely boosts its chances. Now, SAG is not super predictive. This Ensemble winner is not super predictive of what's going to win Best Picture. However, in the past 10 years, it's gotten it right half the time, including something like last year's winner, Parasite. And it's important to note that while something like a PGA is more important, that SAG maybe is losing a little bit of its relevance, it's still important to note that the largest members of the Academy are the acting branch. So most of the Academy is made up of actors. Therefore, these actors also vote in the SAG Awards and are telling, because we actually have Oscar voters voting on some of their best performances and their favorite ensemble. And ultimately, I think in terms of how this will relay into the Oscar race, I think The Trial of Chicago 7, in my opinion, has now increased into probably still the number 2, 3 slot as of potentially winning Best Picture. That it's not totally out of the race, but I would still consider Nomadland the frontrunner. The concern I have with Nomadland is that you could look at this, the fact that Nomadland wasn't nominated here does somewhat concern me. Now, it makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of non-actors and it's not really an ensemble. It's mostly Frances McDormand's vehicle. Therefore, in that case, it makes sense that it wasn't nominated here. However, there are certain things that the Academy, if is largely made up of, or a significant part of it is made up of actors, and Nomadland isn't a very actory movie, I'm worried about its Best Picture chances because of that. Because of the fact that if we look at past, before it used to be a stat that if you didn't get nominated for Best SAG Ensemble, your chances of winning Best Picture were very low. But in 2017, The Shape of Water wasn't nominated, and 2018, Green Book wasn't nominated, and they both went on to win Best Picture. So recent bias tells us to say, okay, well, that doesn't really matter. But the sort of caveat with those movies was that Mahershala Ali won for Green Book, so they had the acting support there, as well as Viggo Mortensen getting nominated for Best Lead Actor. And then similarly, the year before, The Shape of Water had, I believe, 3 nominations in acting, so it didn't get an ensemble, but it had 3 acting nominations at the Oscars, so they really liked it, so we knew the actors liked the movie. When we see this, not getting a SAG Ensemble for Nomadland, only getting Frances McDormand, it is a little bit concerning as to, do the actors really like it, and will that be enough of a factor that maybe they'll go with a more ensemble, actor-focused movie like The Trial of Chicago 7? It's hard to tell. But that would be the case against Nomadland. The case for Nomadland is that the other 2 contenders I mentioned in last week's video, Promising Young Woman and Minari, really got hurt by the SAG Awards tonight. Minari not winning here, I think, definitely hurts its chances. So the fact that it didn't win here, and unless it wins something like at the DGA, which I don't think it will, it probably won't win Best Picture because it didn't get in for Best Editing, which is a crucial nomination in terms of what will win Best Picture. It didn't get the win here, so that's disappointing. So Minari, in my opinion, is kind of out of the Best Picture race, and I'd be shocked if it did win. And then something like Promising Promising Young Woman, which I thought had a solid path, may not even have that path anymore because it could get original screenplay, but Carey Mulligan is no guarantee. So in that case, Nomadland, two of its biggest contenders, really dropped, even though Trial of Chicago 7 did rise. Now there may be some people come Oscar night that say, oh, this Trial of Chicago 7 has the acting support, whatnot, and maybe that could be true, especially if Nomadland gets sort of a bit of a backlash, but right now it seems like Nomadland is still the frontrunner, and I expect it to lead and continue to lead and ultimately win on Oscar night. Then in Best Lead Actress, the winner went to Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which in my opinion was the really big surprise of the night. She's an actress that we know is very well respected, so it wasn't totally surprising that the SAG, the Acting Academy, the branch, the union, decided to go with someone that they really like from TV, but also from film and from theater. Probably one of the most beloved actors living right now, frankly, and working in, I think, in many ways in her prime. But what this does to the acting race, this Best Actress race, really throws things up into the air. That a lot of people, including myself, thought that maybe if Carey Mulligan won tonight, she would solidify her chances as the ultimate sort of presumptive winner come Oscar night. But now we're going to go into Oscar night with Viola Davis winning SAG, Carey Mulligan winning Critics' Choice, Andra Day winning Golden Globes, and then either probably Vanessa Kirby or Frances McDormand winning at BAFTA. And we're going to have no idea who's it going to be. Now, the BAFTA doesn't really make a lot of sense because of the unique voting committee that they did this year. In my opinion, I'm going to sort of disregard those results. So we're going to go with the Oscar night, where Golden Globes don't really matter, but it's interesting to see, a voting body go with someone like Andra Day, who could still be a spoiler, Oscar night. And then it's Viola Davis who went with SAG, and then Carey Mulligan with Critics' Choice. Now, you may want to go with Viola Davis because SAG is an industry award where Critics' Choice is not, but I still think this category is up in the air, and Carey Mulligan definitely got hurt by this win by Viola Davis, but she's not out of it. So here's the case for Viola Davis. There's a lot of things going for her. First of all, she's very well loved. I mean, she's been nominated 4 times. She's won recently. That could be against her, because she's already won, but I think she is the only one Oscar, so it's not like she's won 2 or 3 that they could very easily give her another one. We know they like the movie because we expect Chadwick Boseman to win as well, but they don't love the movie because it didn't get nominated for Best Picture. She is a very well respected actress, and in such an unpredictable year, she really does have a bit of a transformation, puts on weight, has a sort of significant makeup in the movie, and I think she's just so well liked, and we know the movie is appreciated, and she has a big kind of transformative-esque kind of performance that I wouldn't be surprised if she were to win, and she just won the SAG, so she has the industry support behind her. The case against Viola Davis is the fact that in most years, the acting winners, either 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 4 or sometimes 4 out of 4 of the winners are from movies that were nominated for Best Picture. That oftentimes they'll have one Julianne Moore from Still Alice, but all the other winners are from Best Picture nominees. So if we expect Chadwick Boseman to win for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, so that's one. Do we really expect, let's say, Viola Davis to win also from the same movie? No movie has ever had their 2 leads win and then not be nominated at all for Best Picture. I mean, we have Silence of the Lambs, for example, or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest winning those awards, but they went on to win Best Picture. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is not even nominated, which makes me a little bit hesitant to go with Viola Davis. So in my opinion, I think Carey Mulligan is still the frontrunner, mostly because I look at this category and I go, well, I think that's where you sort of show the support of the movie. That if Frances McDormand won here, I think she would be a real contender, but that hurts her chances, even though the movie is very well liked. So then I look at another sort of other winner. In this case was Carey Mulligan for Critics' Choice winner. And we know the movie there for Promising Young Woman is very well liked. We expected to win maybe screenplay, but maybe not anything else. But it got in director and picture and a lot of in editing important categories. Carey Mulligan is the central figure of that movie. So if the Academy likes that movie, they should like that performance. But the truth is that Carey Mulligan really hasn't shown us a lot. She's had these chances at Golden Globes where she should have easily won, in my opinion, or SAG where she should have won, and she kind of hasn't, which brings a lot more doubt into this category. So ultimately, come Oscar night, I still think that Viola Davis has a lot of things going against her, but Carey Mulligan, for example, doesn't have a lot of things going for her. And maybe it's a surprise and it's Andra Day, or maybe Frances McDormand gets swept up by the Nomadland love. It's hard to tell right now, but what I can say is that no one's going to be sure going to Oscar night, and I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these women won, except for maybe someone like Vanessa Kirby. But even then, that would be kind of a welcome surprise. I really like Vanessa Kirby, but it'll be very interesting that this actress race is still very much up in the air and is an exciting race. Right now I think I have Carey Mulligan, but I really am on the fence with someone like Viola Davis or even someone like Frances McDormand and Andre Day. I could see a lot of these spoiler scenarios happening. Then Best Actress in a Supporting Role, I have Yuh-Jung for Minari, which was a surprising kind of a win, but an assuring one in the sense that with this win, I think Yuh-Jung is the frontrunner to win this category of Best Supporting Actress. That it's such a weird year and it was so unpredictable, and we weren't sure who was going to win, and the nominees were somewhat somewhat unpredictable, and the winner of someone like Jodie Foster was interesting at the Golden Globes. But here, I think it's sort of a coalition of Minari's love, and this is where the support's going to go. That ultimately, if you look at the movie, we know it's very well liked. It got on for director, it got on for picture. It could still technically win, although I'd be very surprised, but it could win for Best Picture. But then you look at the way things are playing out, and you go, okay, where does Minari have the support? Well, frankly, the best chances it has is in supporting actress, and we know that they like the movie well. We know they want to reward it in some way, and this is the easiest place to reward it. It was interesting to see someone like Ben Close not take this from Maria Bakalova, and this category is still very up in the air. I mean, I'm not ruling out the chance that Amanda Seyfried for Mank can come in and surprise, and she was the front runner at the beginning, and then she fades away, and then surprises come Oscar night. But with this SAG win, and the general support from Minari and her great acceptance speech tonight, I think that kind of solidifies her. The fact that she won here, even though Minari didn't win in Ensemble, solidifies the fact that she's probably the front runner, and that truth be told, going into Oscar night, maybe you go with Glenn Close, maybe you go with Maria Bakalova, but that's a really kind of an outside pick. Even though I have some doubts about Yuh-Jung in terms of she's not the traditional winner. If we look at, like I said, the four nominees, if you think it's going to be Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis, for example, and then you also think it's going to be Maria Bakalova or Glenn Close, I would highly recommend you to rethink those, because oftentimes to go 1 for 4, only one of the nominees or one of the winners is the Best Picture nominee would be very surprising. And certain movies, like I mentioned before, Julianne Moore with Still Alice, this was a movie that it was kind of just, okay, Julianne Moore is going to win, and it wins everywhere, and that's the Still Alice love. But when we have movies like Hillbilly Elegy or Borat having a couple nominations, it doesn't show a lot of support for the movie. So I would be very surprised if one of those people wins. In my opinion, right now it's kind of like Yuh-Jung in the front place, but maybe even someone like Amanda Seyfried in that second slot as a potential spoiler because of the support of Mank, and because people do still like that movie, and she is probably the most significant member of that movie, and she was the front runner at the beginning. So maybe there's some sort of Oscar night surprise. But right now, with the love of Minari and the SAG win, it's kind of undeniable. I think YJ will ultimately win in this category, and this kind of solidified that for me. Then the other two kind of important wins, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, winning for Best Supporting Actor. And it's kind of surprising to me that this is such a dominant kind of performance and he's winning over and over again, but frankly, I love it. Even though he's maybe not my personal winner of the category, it's few times that the Oscars reward a male actor young enough in the prime of their career. It very rarely happens, so I love to see this happen. I'd love, it's a terrific performance. It's an undeniable, fantastic performance, and arguably his best. So it's not like a weird thing where they're making up or anything. The Oscars very rarely in that case give it to them at the right time, but I think this may be the right time for Daniel Kaluuya. He'd be one of the youngest Best Supporting Actor winners. I'd love to see that happen, and this win here really kind of gives me that confidence, plus the fact that Lakeith was nominated in the same category and Judas got in for screenplay and picture. Gives me the confidence. I think Daniel Kaluuya is a lock come Oscar night, and the other lock being the best lead actor category, in which Chadwick Boseman will win for his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So this year, the acting races for actors are a little bit locked up, but in terms of the acting races for the actresses, that's definitely still up in the air. There's going to be a lot of combinations, a lot of debates going on, but right now the way I see it is actress is really up in the air. I'm still kind of leaning to someone like Carey Mulligan, but I wouldn't be surprised with someone like an Andre Day. I still think she's a real big X factor. And then also someone like So best supporting actress, I think Yuh-Jung could get in, but I'm a little bit concerned about someone like maybe Amanda Seyfried, but someone like Olivia Colman, her chances I think have diminished significantly from this loss tonight. But that's been it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the race. I'd love to hear it. What do you think is going to happen? Will we see sort of an Adrian Brody piano situation or a Marcia Gay Harden surprise on Oscar night? I kind of feel like this may be one of those years where we do get it in one of these acting categories, but it's going to be difficult to tell. But that's been it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, stay tuned.